Okay, so this video will hopefully get you started on some geometry vocabulary that we need in order to start the school year. Geometry is a form of math that has a lot of vocab, especially at the beginning. And these are terms that we will use all year long. So it's important to not only know what these words are, but be able to use them throughout the year and refer back to this vocab page as we go on. All right, so we will jump right in and start with the most basic term in geometry where everything begins, and that's with a point. So you'll be writing the term, we'll have a definition and a picture, okay, for pretty much all of the terms that we'll cover today. A point is an exact location in space. And it looks just like a dot. So you draw a dot, and often in geometry, dots are named with letters, capital letters. So it could be called point A. Okay, you can have a series of points. Okay, you can't draw anything unless you have at least a couple of points. Right? The next word would be line. Okay, a line is really just a collection of points. It's a collection of points along a straight path. So if we drew this and did some points, okay, we could draw a line that connects all those points in a straight path. But the thing that a line has, it has arrows on each end, which distinguishes it from another geometry term, which will be the next one. Okay, this indicates that this stretches on forever in either direction. So we should probably add that to our definition. Extends forever. In both directions. All right, lines don't have to go from left to right too. They can go up, down, they could go diagonally, but it has to be straight and there has to be arrows. Now there's ways to name this line too. If we gave each of these points a letter, call this A, B, C, D, okay, there's a bunch of ways we can name this line. We could start with point A and call it AB. We could call it BC, CD, or starting with D and going backwards. Let's say we decide to name this line AB. So I'd put AB, the capital letters, and the line symbol above it. Okay? Or it could be called BC. It could be called CD. Okay, etc. There's more. You could call it DC, DB, DA. Any of those would work. Okay, this is the line symbol that goes above the letters. If you just write the letters without putting the line symbol above, it's confusing as to what that is. So make sure that you're putting the line symbol above. Now, if you have a line without the arrows, it's called a line segment. A line segment is just a piece of a line. And it doesn't extend forever. Okay? It has a starting point and an ending point. So it has endpoints. So just draw a straight line segment and put some endpoints. You call it AB. We could call that line segment AB. Notice there's no arrow like there is here. You could also call it line segment BA. Does not matter which direction, but you have to have the 2 points. Okay? Now there's other things that look like lines or line segments, and one of them is called a ray. A ray looks like this. I'll draw the picture first. Starts at a point and goes in one direction. Notice there's not 2 endpoints and there's not 2 arrows. There's a point and 1 arrow. So if we put this as an A and put another point on there, B. Sorry, that's supposed to be a letter B. We could call this ray AB. Notice the ray sign. It's an arrow going in one direction. Okay. So a ray is a part of a line with one end point. And it goes only in one direction. Notice I drew this angled up. You could also have it going down or to the side. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, when you name it, it's a little trickier than naming a line or a line segment. You have to start with the starting point. So I have to call this ray AB. I can't call it BA because it doesn't begin at B and go through A. So this would be a no-no. Let me cross that off. You can't call it that. Next word is angle. So all of geometry basically works with lines and line segments and rays. But if we put 2 rays together, we get an angle. Notice if I draw a ray here, and then draw another ray going off that same point, you have an angle. Okay? So an angle is 2 rays connected. By a common endpoint. And that common endpoint is called a vertex. So there's the vertex where that angle begins. So just like with these other terms, we have to name this angle. There's no letters on here. You can't name it unless you have some letters. Instead of ABC, let's do some X and Y and Z. Okay, Y is the vertex, so that has to be the middle letter. So I can name this angle XYZ, or I can name it ZYX. And you put an angle sign in front. Angle X, Y, Z, or angle Z, Y, X. Okay, it's important that the vertex is the middle letter. All right, there's types of angles too, which you've probably heard before. There is such thing as a right angle. Okay, a right angle is an angle that measures 90 degrees. So a drawing of a right angle would look like this. Okay, but it's hard to tell that this is 90 degrees without measuring it. So in your textbooks or when you have classwork or homework to do, a right angle will have this box in the corner. If you don't see that box, you can't be sure that it's a right angle. For instance, without that box, it could be 89.9 degrees, which is not a right angle. It has to be exactly 90. So anything less than 90 degrees is called an acute angle. Okay? It's an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. So even a 1 degree angle, which is probably nearly impossible to draw, would be an acute angle. Going all the way up to 89.9 degrees would be an acute angle. So what we do is you draw an angle with just a little tiny opening. See that little opening there? That's definitely less than 90 degrees. If this is 90, this is less than 90, so it's an acute angle. Okay, in the next video we will continue with our notes.